Hi, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to install WordPress on your independent host and get the WordPress environment ready for you to build your website on. So the first thing you want to make sure that you have is a hosting account. I recommend SiteGround, but good options are also Bluehost, GoDaddy, and there are tons of others. The thing that you want to make sure that you have is a cPanel. It's going to say that when you go into the host's products to choose which plan you want to make sure that you have a cPanel available within that account. So when you log into your account, you want to navigate to your cPanel in your navigation, and you want to get to a screen that looks somewhat like this. It may not look exactly like this, but you're going to see a lot of icons like this broken down into sections. So once we're in the cPanel, the first thing that we're going to want to do is if you're creating a staging site, which I will be doing for the sake of this example, we're going to want to set up our subdomain. A subdomain allows you to have a kind of sub-site or a test site within your main domain name. So my main domain name is pixelglowwebdesign.com, and one of the things that I like to do is create a staging site when I'm working on a new site. That way I have kind of a test environment to work in before I launch onto the actual proper URL. So in order to create the subdomain, we're going to navigate all the way down here into the domain section, and we're going to click subdomains. And once on the subdomain section, as you can see, I've already created a staging domain. And all you would actually do is type staging into this section, and it'll append it to your actual URL. But for the sake of this, this example, I'm actually just going to use example. And it's going to create a document root folder called public HTML/example. And whatever you name your subdomain, it's going to change to this. So this is just the folder within your hosting account where all of your site files are going to live, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. So after you've chosen your subdomain name, make sure you have the right domain name selected. If you've purchased more than one URL, you might see a drop down, and then we're going to hit create. Awesome, so we have successfully done that. We're going to go back, click the home button to get back to our main cPanel page. The next thing we want to do is set up our database. So you're going to navigate down to the databases section and go to MySQL databases, which is going to be this icon right here. And once we're on this page, we actually want to open up a sticky note. So I'm going to open up this little guy right here. I'm going to move my other ones out of the way. And you can use a sticky note, you can use a Word document, a Notepad document. You just need something to store some information in a moment. So we need to create 3 different items here: a database, a user, and a password. And it's as simple as just making up a name. So as you can see, for my main site, I have this database. For the staging site I've created in the past, I have this database. So we're going to name this database example. And as you can see, it has a little prefix right here. So we're going to make sure that we save the whole thing into our note, and then we're going to hit create database. So that's added. We're going to go back to the same page. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to where we see add a new user. So I'm just going to use ex user for example user. So the prefix is going to be the same, but we just need to change the ending to this, to ex user. And then we need a password. Your cPanel should allow you to generate a password automatically. It's going to be something really secure. So we're going to copy this, and we're just going to paste it into this section, and they match. And now we can create our user and associate it with this password. We do also want to make sure we save our password in our sticky notes. Once again, we're going to go back. So as you can see, our database is created. It's completely empty, but there are no users assigned to it. We want to make sure that our user is assigned to our database. So we're going to come down to this section where it says add a user to a database. Pretty straightforward. We're going to make sure we have the proper one selected. So the one we just created, the user we just created, and the database we just created. And we're going to hit add. Now this is really important. When you get to a table, it looks something like this. You want to select all privileges. Otherwise, when you log into the site, there are certain things you may not be able to do that you need to be able to do. So we want to make sure that we can do every single thing possible. I'm not going to go into what these mean. This just means that we can have complete control and customization over the site. So after we select all privileges, we're going to make our changes, and it has been successful. So now we're going to go back, or you can just click the home button. And the next thing we're going to do is actually add WordPress to our host. So all WordPress is a free set of files that creates an environment for us. So I'm going to open up a new tab, and you can do this on your end. You would just go to download WordPress, search that in Google, and Google actually gives you this awesome section right here. Go to download. Now you don't need to pay for this. You don't need an account. You don't need anything. You just come to this page, get WordPress, download WordPress. So it's going to go ahead and download this zip file. We're going to save it. And then back in our cPanel, we're going to come to the Files section. We're going to go to the File Manager, and we're going to make sure we select the document root for the site we're working on. So right now we're not working on the main URL, we're working on the subdomain. If you were working on your main one, you could stay in your main root, but for now we're going to go to the example and hit go. Now there are a handful of steps here. The first thing we're going to do is upload WordPress. So I'm going to click away a little too quickly, but there's an upload icon right here. Your file manager may look a little bit different, but just look for something that says upload. It's going to open a new tab. We can drag our file over here, or if you're more comfortable, you can click choose file, select, and open. Now you're going to see this progress bar down here. Shouldn't take too long, just a couple of seconds for it to upload to the host. And we're going to wait for it to say complete. Nothing else is on the page is going to change. This is just going to say complete. When this says complete, we can go back. And as you can see, our zip file is right here, but it's a file, a zipped file. We need to open it up and get all the files and folders out where they need to be. So the next step is going to be selecting this zip folder, and we're going to extract it. This is basically unzipping it the same way that you would if you downloaded a zip attachment from like an email. So we're going to confirm that we want to extract it. Should just take a second. It shows us all the files that were inside of that zip folder. We're going to close it. And then we want to refresh our page. And when we refresh, we will see this proper folder, unzipped WordPress folder. And inside, these are the files and folders that make up your WordPress builder. So we're going to go up one level so that we're looking at, these folders. We're going to delete the zipped one because it's now empty. And we're going to select the WordPress folder. And after we select it, we are going to, we're actually going to open it and select everything. Now, the way that I do this is I'll click the first item, I'll hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, and then I'll select the last item, and it selects everything. And once we have everything selected, we are going to find the Move File icon, and we are going to move it to this file. So right now, it's saying that there's a file called public HTML. Within that file, there's a file called example, and within that file, there's a folder called WordPress, and within that folder, these files live there, but we want to move it into this folder, the example folder. So it's as easy as deleting WordPress, move file. So now as you can see, this WordPress folder is empty. All of our items have been moved into the example folder, and we can actually go ahead and delete this empty WordPress folder. So with that process, all of our WordPress files and folders are in our main example folder. So this means that when we go to this site, we will be able to access all of these files that make up the site. And we're actually going to do that right now. So you would go ahead at this point and type in your domain that you're working with. So in our case, pixelglowwebdesign.com. And then after .com, /WP hyphen, which is going to be up next to your 0 key on your keyboard, admin, admin. We're going to hit go. Now this is the magic screen. If you have achieved this screen, if this is what you see in front of you, you have done everything right so far. If you do not see this screen, it means that there's been some kind of problem. Your files are not arranged the way that they should be. So I'd recommend that you go back in the video, delete your WordPress folders out of your file manager and start over. But if you are at this screen, congratulations. You're going to select English or whatever language that you are comfortable speaking in and working in. Hit continue. And then it's going to explain that we need our database information, which we've just saved, right? So hit let's go. You're going to open up back your little file where you kept this information. You're going to copy the name of your database, put it right there. You're going to copy the name of your user, put it right there. And you're going to copy your password and put it right here. Now don't get rid of that little file. We want to keep that. Submit. And awesome, it looks like we made some kind of mistake. So it's actually good that this happened because I'd like to walk you through, if you do see this screen, it means that something kind of got messed up. So we're gonna try again. And we're just gonna double check our information and make sure that everything was copied in properly. Pixel Glow example, Pixel Glow EX user, which is correct. We're even gonna go back to our database in the cPanel. And we're just going to compare and make perfectly certain and see what happened was I got a little excited and I included the W, whereas this doesn't have a W. So if you make any sort of typo with the database information, you are going to experience that, that error screen that we just saw. So we want to delete these W's and we're going to submit it again. And this time, we have successfully connected our database and our subdomain and our WordPress files. So now it's time to run the installation. At this point, you're going to name the site. So I'll just name it an example site. At this point, like in the site title, you'd want to put the name of your business or your brand. Username, I like sticking with admin, but sometimes people like to put their name. So I would put, Allie. Let's just do Allie for now. And then your password. I'm also going to save my username and my password over here. I'm going to keep this password because it's WordPress recommended, so it's strong and secure. You're welcome to change this password, but you want to make sure that this tab right here turns green and says strong. I'm going to pop in my email address right here. And because this is a site that I'm going to be working on and practicing on and doing tests, and I'm not really ready to show the world yet, I'm going to click discourage search engines from indexing this site. If this is a site where you are going to be ready to launch it in, just a few days or really, really soon, you can leave this unchecked. And now we're going to hit install WordPress. And it's going to let us log in. So again, I'm going to pop in my username. I'm going to go over here and grab my password. And I like to hit remember me so that I know that every time I come to the site on this computer, it'll remember me unless I've cleared my cache or something like that. And we'll hit login. And this is your WordPress dashboard. This is the end of this process. You've had WordPress set up properly, and now you can start actually building and designing your site. If you've encountered any difficulty or if you're stuck on a certain part, please feel free to leave a comment below and I will try to help you troubleshoot it. But otherwise, enjoy your site and please keep watching. Thank you so much. Bye.